Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Midday Live. I am Wendy Lai. Our top stories for the bulletin. We'll bring you a staggering revelation as rail passengers are at risk as none of Ghana's trains are insured. Accra High Court set October 31 to rule on ECG workers' injunction on the company's concession. On international front, Kenya's Supreme Court to hold a last-minute hearing to decide whether or not the rerun of the country's presidential election can go ahead this week. We have details coming up shortly. Please do stay. After the Accra bound train derailed, it is still sitting there. We're being with that story now.
I'm standing at the scene of what could have been one of the greatest disasters ever to hit this city of Accra and even this country. I am at Tesano, where a train derailed or went off its tracks here. Now, this particular train plies the Accra Achimota Tema route. And by Accra, I mean Kantamanto to Tema Community 1, and this happened on the 23rd of October at 7:40 a.m. Now, I'm currently here with Mr. Abraham Wood. He is the acting area head or area manager for the Ghana Railway Company Limited.
The minister have put in place a 3-member committee to investigate and look at the cause of the accident. We are waiting for them. They have to do their work. After they have done that, because the minister have asked them to submit their report. So after they have done that, then we have to put the train back on the track and probably pull the whole stock to Accra so that they can pave way for the engineers who works on the track to work on the track as well before we start our normal running.
Are you saying that the company would wait until the committee, spells out their findings before it is taking off?
No. The committee, they have to be on site, look at what happened. They have to look at the evidence or have to look at what really do their checks then before we can come in and do our work. Because if you temper or do whatever work you have to do, they won't get their needed evidence that they want. Some of the wooden slippers, you see the wood that is under the rail, you have to put some, fix some. For us, we have our the maintenance shop is in Tema, so we have to put the whole stock to Tema.
The settlements very extremely close, as close as say 10 feet to the railway track, which by law is wrong because it's supposed to be at least about 100 meters. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. We only thank God that when the accident happened, it did not roll over. If it should have, then I believe that there will be a lot of casualties. Because of some of our attitude, so look at how they have built.
You're saying that the tracks are in good condition to be used even today if they were to even complete it today?
No, as we heard from our engineer, we will dismantle all and rebuild it and put it in shape. I believe a minimum of 2-3 days we should be able to finish with our work.
Now, what you're seeing is probably the only thing that prevented this from being a minor accident to a disaster of epic proportions. That is the attachment of a 6-coached train that prevented this coach from somersaulting or even sliding into the settlements very close to the railway. Now, who is responsible for ensuring that these settlements are not even as close to the railway tracks as they are right now? Is this just a knee-jerk reaction by authorities, or this time will the right thing be done? We will find out.
And staggering information we are gathering is that none of Ghana's commercial trains are insured. This is because the laws establishing the motor vehicle insurance do not make it compulsory for vehicles, that's commercial trains, to be insured, unlike commercial and private vehicles. The Motor Vehicle Third-Party Insurance Act, Act 42 of the 1958 Motor Vehicle, that's a third-party insurance, makes insurance of trains optional. On the phone line this afternoon, I'm being joined by Alfred Yaufo, and he is the Managing Director of Glyco and also an insurance expert as well. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon.
Now, with your expertise in insurance and over the years, why do you think that trains are not insured in Ghana?
It is good. The insurance is not compulsory. Apart from motor insurance is compulsory, it's now that the National Insurance Commission is trying to make other forms of insurance compulsory. But for now, for a train, the insurance can cover the rail line, the coaches, the employees, and the passengers. But unfortunately, they don't have any insurance.
Is it to say that it's too risky a business to insure?
No, not at all. In fact, I must say for train, motor is even riskier. But for me personally, I have been to the railway authority. I've had meetings of them some years ago, trying to. I think that was when they did a Accra rail line. But they always talk about funds. They don't have money to pay premium. But the insurance is not risky. After all, the rail line doesn't. I hope you monitoring the line. On few occasions that you have rail accident. So it's not that risky.
And from what you're saying and adding on, what really, if Ghana should intend to pursue this, what really would be the setback?
The setback is that these things happen, and unfortunately, there is no insurance to cover them. And in fact, this accident is not the only one. There are other states or national assets that do not have any insurance. Minister of Foreign Affairs got bent. The Minister of Health, their central medical stores also got banned. All of them didn't have any insurance. And unfortunately, in Ghana, when these things happen, we talk and talk and talk, and that's it. There's still no insurance for all these things. The rail line, they don't have any insurance. But I must say that if you were in the train and you got injured, then you have to take on the railway authority for compensation. Because for the insurance is not compulsory, but the compensation is compulsory. If for any reason you are in the train and you got injured or your property is damaged, they must compensate you for that.
And if indeed we want to pursue this again, are there available insurance packages? Although you work with Glyco, you are an expert in this very industry. Are there insurance packages available now as we speak?
Yes, very many insurance are available for that. And as I said, we have insurance for the construction of the rail line. We have insurance for the rail line itself after the construction, and then the coaches, the workers, and then liability for passengers. We have insurance to cover all that. I must say that I've had discussions with the Minister of Railways and his deputies, and they are very keen on doing the insurance. You know, these days I think they are looking for a facility to expand the rail line. And so that one, no investor will put his money in if you don't have insurance to support it. So they are very keen on doing that.
All right. Well,
for those that are existing for now, there are no insurances to cover them.
Thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking to Alfred Yaufo, who is the Managing Director of Glyco and also an insurance expert. We're still staying with the railway sector, and the Ghana Railway Company is bedeviled with several challenges. In the following reports, the news team chronicles some of the challenges confronting the railway sector.
The Accra to Nsawam route is one of the few networks still in operation. The coaches that ply this route have been doing so since 1986. Though old and rusty, they continue to transport hundreds of passengers daily. The Accra station is bedeviled by activities of traders and all manner of persons who have no business there. Traders compete with the trains for space despite the dangers. This, however, is not peculiar to the Accra station. At the Odor station, squatters who were evicted in October last year have returned. These structures have once again been put up close to the rail lines. Most of them are bars, food vending joints, and residence for young men and women seeking greener pastures in the capital. Despite warnings by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, construction works are ongoing. The tracks are also indiscriminately littered and liquid waste is poured on them. Activities contributing to the destruction of the already frail tracks. The tracks here are only a representation of what used to be. It has several railings missing, portions eroded, and rest of the land belonging to the Ghana Railway Company encroached by small businesses.
I've stayed here for like 26 years. It's the people who is in charge of the train, they give us here to do our businesses because the train has stopped passing here. They charge for the land. It's a year. You pay like 60 cedis.
Structures marked for demolition still stand. The Nsawam station looks deserted, almost like a haunted house in a horror movie. The office of the station manager obviously haven't felt the strokes of a paintbrush and have several broken panes. This tiny police post now serves as a residence for railway staff. The foundation of this staff quarters is also gradually being washed away. The station manager also doubles as a ticket officer. The Accra Nsawam route serves mainly traders. Patiently, they spend hours waiting for the train. The moving train is also threatened by these homes and structures close to the tracks. Some transport companies also park their buses in a manner that poses a danger to the train.
So we're still staying a lot longer on this story, and I have been joined on the phone line by the Minister of Rail Transport, Joe Gatti. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon.
The focus of your ministry is to improve on mass transport and also rail network. How important is this, and also how can the system help reduce accidents?
How important is what, please?
Your job and role as you work on transport system and the rail network on the back of the accident we recorded yesterday.
Well, yesterday we recorded the derailment. Every derailment is important because you learn the lessons from the derailment and take it forward. I mean, one derailment is one too many. So we are taking it very, very seriously. We're investigating what happened. The experts are on the ground. Today they are trying to bring the train back onto the track, and we take safety very seriously. And so for us, when the committee comes out with the support to us, they will know the way forward. So it's a very important incident, and we are taking it seriously.
Now, I just ended an interview with an insurance expert, and he did mention that there are insurance packages available for our rail system. Is the ministry looking at that?
First of all, the ministry does not run the train service. The ministry is a policy, gives policy direction, and it's important you mention it because as you are speaking, we are developing a Ghanaian participation policy, and we have identified insurance as one of the areas in which insurance companies, Ghanaian companies, can take the lead in offering insurance, not just for the running of the train, but also for the construction process.
Can you speak up, sir?
Can I speak a bit
Can you
louder?
please speak up?
Okay, madam. I'm saying that the ministry is in the process of developing a Ghanaian participation policy for the sector. And one of the areas we have identified as areas that want to encourage increased Ghanaian participation is the area of insurance, not just during the operation, but even during the construction. And a number of insurance companies have approached us And I've also approached a railway company and given them their proposals for insurance. So we are ongoing. We have an ongoing discussion with the sector to increase Ghanaian participation in the sector.
And just for confirmation, are the railway sector, when it comes to railway lines, are the trains insured here in Ghana?
I should think so. This is a question you must ask the Ghana Railway Company.
But you are the sector minister.
I'm not responsible for ensuring whether it was insured. I'm developing a policy which will ensure that if this is government money, Ghana money, 70% of the insurance is done in Ghana. But the insurance sector goes through a process of insurance and reinsurance. And I don't have to be with respect. I know it's not because I'm the minister, but I know that depending on the value of the insurance, they have a process where they do reinsurance with outside bodies. So I don't think that the sector minister is responsible for finding out whether this train has been insured. No, this is something, a question we've asked and to come out in a report. But we are doing a policy which we're doing even before this thing derailed, which we are going to instruct all the companies that are operating here and that will continue to operate here and encourage them to use Ghanaian insurance companies. So simple as that.
So you can indeed confirm if that is done or not?
I will not say what I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking to the Rail Transport Minister, Joe Gatti. You're speaking, and you just spoke to us shortly on happenings within the sector. You're still watching Media Live. The consignment of rotten frozen chicken, which was declared unsafe for human consumption, has been discovered on the Ghanaian market. According to the Herald newspaper, earlier reports indicate that the 3 containers loaded with chicken from Holland had been seized at the port after mandated institutions like the Food and Drugs Authority, that's the FDA, and the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, declared the consignments unwholesome. However, the 3 containers, including a 4th one, which the FDA said it found very difficult to open for inspection, managed to leave the port to the markets. The paper said the FDA's officer in charge at the Tema Port, Solomon Janim, had confirmed that the unwholesome chicken products were cleared from the port and sent to all the way to Chiman in the Bono Ahafo region. So this afternoon, I have been joined in the studio by James Alate. He's the PR manager, FDA, and we're looking at the unwholesome chicken. Good afternoon, James, and thanks for your time. Now, yesterday I did speak to you on this very issue. What's the latest?
Thank you very much. I think I narrated the whole thing yesterday. I don't know whether we have time to go through them. So I just rush and go through it. Now, you see, what actually happened was that when the products go to the ports, now, before I do that, let me establish that they were not smuggled products. They were genuine products that were imported to the country. When they got to the port, FDA inspected together with veterinary services. When the container was opened, they noticed that there was a foul smell that was coming out. So that raised suspicion that check the content very well.
How long did it stay at the port?
I cannot tell. But from every indication, the products, well, they were not able to establish whether the product arrived in that state or it was when it was at the port that it got into that state, you know. And what they did was that, noticing the foul smell, they resealed it, allowed it to go to the importer's warehouse because it's going to take time.
Who are the they?
That's SEPS, FDA, and veterinary services. Understand? So the products were cleared to the owner's facility, that is a coastal in Tema. That's Whitestone Frozen Foods Limited. Yeah. So when they got there, they sorted the whole thing out. And then they realized that 266 cartons out of the 2,800 cartons had come back. That is 266. It was separated. And then a detention notice was placed on the remaining consignments. Though it wasn't found to be unwholesome, they wanted to do a second test. So veterinary services took samples, took it to the lab. It took them about 5 days. And they brought the results indicating that the remaining were wholesome. But the challenge was that At the time that the first consignment was being inspected, there was a second container that was observed also to contain frozen food belonging to the same company. Trying to open it was difficult. They couldn't. So they agreed with the clearing agent that on Monday, this happened on a Saturday, the following Monday, they'll bring a welder, break it, and do the inspection. On Monday, FDA officers got to the scene and they realized the product had been cleared. That is the second consignment, also containing 2,800 cartons. What we did was that immediately we called the clearing agent to confirm. I'm sure maybe I must admit that's a mistake that we did. We should have first called the owner of the product and not the clearing agent. We called the clearing agent and he told us that the product has been transported to Techiman. So that was the information that when Herald interviewed, it was released to him. Later, we called our office in the Brongahafu to move to Techiman to do a check on the cold stores in Techiman, whether that product had come there. Despite that, we moved to the owner's premises. When we got there, we questioned why they've allowed the products to be taken to Techiman.
But what then is the role of the FDA official at the port?
You know, we are supposed to allow the products to be cleared. And that's why I'm saying that the agreement was that the products should be kept till Monday when we do the inspection. And when we went on Monday, we realized it had been cleared.
That's last week Monday?
Yeah, last week Monday. You understand? Not this one, that's last week Monday. The whole thing started on the Saturday, last week Saturday, you know. So, when we contacted the owner, then he indicated to us that no, the products had not gone to Techiman, but that they were in their warehouse, they were cleared to their warehouse. So we went and we saw the consignment. Atema, of 2,800 cartons. That's the second consignment in the warehouse. All we did was that we placed a detention notice on them, called veterinary services, picked samples, which we are waiting for the results.
Now, yesterday you mentioned that the Unwholesome chicken had been destroyed.
Yes, that's the 266 cartons.
Where exactly was this done?
It was done at the dumping site in Tema.
When and at what time?
It was done on Monday. In fact, I was from a meeting when I came here straight. I would have brought the documents that were signed on the destruction. I had this on my table.
So you're still waiting for feedback from the veterinary services?
Yes.
How confident are you that the other consignments which you've put a hold on doesn't get to the market? Who is monitoring what?
It will not. FDA has been visiting the place since we did that detention. When we normally place detention on products, we don't leave it like that. We visit the place to confirm that it is intact. And if I spoke to our officer yesterday, he told me, assured me that the products were there, they've not been touched. And I know they've not been touched. I'm very sure about that.
Now, one concern that has been raised is that when you go to the sites where you do the destruction of these unwholesome food and products, your personnel are also not in the right attire or gear. How harmful could this be? Because we've had visuals of these things, even for Asahi and the rest. So some of them are probably dressed in mufti, some t-shirts and trousers, no overcoats, no nose masks, gloves.
You see,
is this normal practice?
No, with the disposer. FDA, what we do is that we supervise the disposer. We are there to check that the products are actually being destroyed. That's what we do. I was there myself when the Asahi was being destroyed. Well, I was not putting on a nose mask anyway.
Which you have admitted is not.
Yes, I was not. But the officers, the technical officers that were doing the supervision had a nose mask with them.
Okay, we'll be playing those visuals shortly, which will air for you to really justify.
But you see, I've seen the visual you are talking about.
And that's right on air.
Okay, with the visual, you realize that the owner of the product brought in laborers to come and cut the product into the crusher. It was the laborers that were dressed that way. We have no control over that. So I remember that day, we even supplied them some nose masks. That's what FDA did. They were not obliged to do that.
But is this their responsibility? Is it the owner's responsibility to do that?
Yes, he has to do that.
Now,
he has employed them. He has to do that.
Going forward, still back to that very issue about unwholesome food, and then the role that your officials at the port play. You've narrated that, but how best can they ensure that such a thing doesn't repeat itself?
Wendy,
what has been done?
You see, Wendy, let me be very honest and very frank with you. FDA has worked with SEPS for a very long time. The relationship has been very good. Collaboration has been very good. We'll not be experiencing this. Every time when there's a product and FDA says that this product shouldn't go out, it doesn't normally go out. So with what happened, it's quite worrying. I know yesterday we had a discussion, myself and the officer at the port, and indicated to me that it's in talk with SEPS officials at the port to know why they allowed this into
But has FDA started an investigation into this very issue?
Well, that's what I'm saying, that the officer over there has started talking to SEPS about it.
Alone, or you're doing it as a whole entity?
As a whole entity, as
because he alone, there's familiarity, and that's
well, he represents us at the port. So when I say he, it doesn't mean that you go there as an individual. You definitely go with some other officers, together with SEPS, to find out how the thing happened. Right, because it doesn't normally happen.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking to the PR manager, FDA, James Latin. We're looking at the unwholesome chicken that was busted. You're still watching Midday Live. A newly installed government, Shanita Ki Teko, has dismissed suggestions that his rise to the Gamanche stool was politically aided. Outdoored at the Kanishi Palace that has seen several evasions and lockups. The new Gamanche says that he is the right person to occupy the stool with the support from kingmakers. Kamala Kluchi has a following report.
For several years, the Gamanche's palace has been under siege following chieftains' disputes over the legitimacy of claimants, a divided kingdom with one of the longest protracted chieftaincy disputes in the country. The kingmakers say is free and liberated.
Things went into disarray in the Ga state. People who actually do not have the spiritual mandate and the mandate of the Ga people tried to ensure themselves.
Heavily armed policemen fired up for any threat from an opposing faction. The whole palace was under surveillance. The various traditional rites performed in the full glare of the kingmakers, who have reposed confidence in the king. In the first public interview, the newly installed ruler took a jab at his opposing factions.
There are several communicable diseases that are affecting our communities, and you sing and talk about the Gazette. That was acquired fraudulently. Yes. We appeal to the authorities. Appeal to the authorities to reverse that action, because we have resolved that we are not afraid. We are not. We are not afraid. Politics will not be brought into this reign.
He is resolute. What the Ga state needs is liberation from economic hardship and poverty.
I want to unite the Ga state. By the year 2020, the Ga state will be united, and our resolve will be positive, because by 2020, we should be one of the biggest enterprises on the African continent.
The kingmakers are hopeful the new government will lead a state devoid of political influence, which they believe accounts for the protracted conflict. Kamala Kluche, TV3 News, Kaneshi, Accra.
Away from that story, the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, has expressed disappointment at the sentence handed against the 13 members of the New Patriotic Party affiliated with Delta Force Vigilante Group, found to have manhandled the Ashanti Regional Coordinator earlier this year. According to the center, 1,800 Ghana cedis per head fine imposed as sentence on each of the accused persons was a slap on the wrist and may go to encourage many political hooligans to perpetrate crime in the country. Now, CDD Ghana said although the court processes were in accordance with the rule of law, the judgment was lenient. And this afternoon, I have been joined on the phone line by Dr. Kojo Asante, Senior Research Fellow, CDD. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to your viewers.
You weren't happy, CDD, with the punishment meted out to this vigilante group, and we're talking about Delta Force. You say it's not deterrent enough. What kind of punishment are you looking at?
I think at the minimum, a custodial sentence would have sufficed. I mean, this is a group that physically assaulted a regional security coordinator. I mean, the fact that you assault in a public officer, it's a very, very serious offense because it undermines the integrity of the state. And if the state is not able to send a signal that, you know, people who are carrying duties on behalf of the public are assaulted, then it makes it difficult for the state to work. And that's why, if you look at the criminal code, you know, this is an offense that is taken seriously. So this was something that most of us got access to a video that showed that, you know, this person was assaulted badly. And the fact that that happened and we end up with a situation where they get off with the fine is really troubling, because we'll be having these issues repeated every time. And every time it happens and we don't take a strong stand, it actually emboldens people in these groups to act with impunity. So this is why we are drawing the public's attention that we really have to draw a line in the sand. We need to say that, you know, we cannot tolerate this anymore. Because if we don't, then we'll get to a point where it'll be more difficult to handle.
Now, do you agree that there should be a total ban of vigilante groups in this country, though this issue has come up over and over again?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this is a matter that the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, for instance, has been, you know, talking about for a couple of years now. I mean, people make the case that really these kinds of groupings and the objectives to which they are set up itself is illegal. So it's not like you are banning illegal activity, you know. So that you have to disband them. These groups who mobilize to either serve as party security or whatever it is that they seek to do, but using violence and intimidation and so on, cannot be legal in any other constitution, and therefore they have to be disbanded. And if they do, you know, meet for those purposes, then of course it makes their activities illegal and they can be arrested. So I think there's a law enforcement tool that you can use. But we, remember the election time, this was, the security agencies promised us that this was going to happen. It did not happen. And we've seen it post-election that people are still doing. Just recently in Tamale and so on, there are still people going around locking up state offices and demanding that, whatever their interests have to be met by the state, and the police does nothing. So it's a worrying trend, and if it keeps going on, because now all of these groups now have branches. If you go to Sunyani, you go to Takrady, you go, these now they are forming branches, and branches are districts and so on. So it means that this is a lucrative job now, and you have a lot of unemployed people. So if you create that kind of mix, you are asking for trouble.
Now, for political parties, while as a country we work on some of these pointers you've touched on, how should political parties control these groups within their parties?
Well, I mean, obviously, a lot of the genesis of political vigilance, particularly under the Fourth Republic, arose mainly because political parties felt that those who were in opposition in particular felt that they weren't getting a fair justice, there was selective justice from the incumbent. So a lot of them, went to mobilize these boys as party security. And then, you know, what now that because we've been having all these turnovers in Ghana, once somebody gets into a position, another person comes, then they also go and mobilize. Now, once you set them up, they don't disband. They are there. And whatever they get from you, you'll keep coming back. So the political parties have a big responsibility to help disband these groups, because openly they will say that they don't know them. But informally, everybody knows that they are affiliated to a party, and they themselves will claim that. So they have a responsibility to completely say that, you know, these groups are not, they have nothing to do with the party structures, and they can't work for us. If they don't intervene in that way, it makes it very, very difficult, you know, to deal with the problem of political vigilantism.
All right. Well,
so
thank you.
that I think is important. They have a big role to play.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kojo Asante is a Senior Research Fellow at CDD Ghana. This is still Midday Live.
Action. Start times is 1 year, so you feel it generous. Generous! 18 year dropping, and you free decoder for part 2. Although start times there, you turn to low, now you're shining high. Part 1, now with your 2 months super bouquet. Part 2 here, over to your 1 month super bouquet. Sister Ghana, pet. Now you're the HD combo decoder, no up so free. Yo, start time so I do novellas, series, live matches, so you're trying to HD. It's a free this thing only on Star Times. Star Times, turn your view.
On Friday, 27th October 2017, all roads will lead to Osu 5 Junction for the TV3 at 20 free health screening. Come check your blood sugar level, malaria, hepatitis B, hypertension, and body mass index. Come with family and friends, meet your favorite radio and television personalities, and let's have a great time. Remember, it's on Friday, 27th October at Osu 5 Junction. Time 9 a.m. prompt. It's absolutely free. It's fun. Be there. TV3 at 20. Reshaping news and creating stars.
Year after year, we've been rewarding explicit radio and television personalities and content that took over the airwaves. The 7th Adonko RTP Awards 2017. Who carries the awards slated for the various categories? For Bright Nananfo to win Television Morning Show Host of the Year award, text RTP Bright to 1446. For TV3 to win more awards, vote for us now. The 7th Adonko RTP Awards, the night we all dream in gold.
Hogbechocho. This year, TV3 and Donya FM brings to you the 2017 annual Hogbechocho Festival. Come, let's celebrate a rich culture and indulge in a host of exciting activities. 28th October, Mini Deba Triko at 9 a.m. 1st November, Hogbechocho School Children's Deba at Kitasco Park. 2nd November, 9 a.m. Nubedodo Reconciliation at Agonu. 3rd November, from 10 a.m. we will pay homage to Togbesri at the Awamafia Palace, Angloga, and then on to the Angloga Courtyard, Clemetoto, where the exodus of Anglo would happen. In the evening, we will partay at the TV3 and Odmia FM Street Carnival from 8 p.m. till you drop. Saturday, 4th November, there will be a grand deba of the chiefs and people at 9 a.m. at the Hogba Park. Special guest of honor, Nana Atodankwa Ekufuado, President of the Republic. This will be followed by the TV3 Beach Jam at the Aborigines Coco Bay Beach. On Sunday, we will climax it all with a massive Thanksgiving gospel rock show dubbed Hogbe Praise at all churches in Anglogang. On Monday, 6th November, we will cool it up with a grand picnic. Angloklo Chaklo, Nakachi Dakala Jumabinu. You buy.
Let's do business now, and the business forum intended to scale up investments between Ghana and Morocco has opened in Accra. The trade between the two countries has dropped by 3.9% within the last 5 years.
The forum is a follow-up to the Moroccan president's visit to Ghana in February this year. During his visit, 25 business agreements on automobile, energy, mining and other sectors of the economy were signed. Both countries agreed to develop the various sectors by increasing investments. Available figures from the Ministry of Trade indicates that Ghana's imports from Morocco stand at $87 million and Morocco's imports to Ghana at $7 million. Currently, there are more than 80 Moroccan businesses in Ghana. The Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry expressed worry about low levels of trade between the two countries.
Surgical and chemical industries, plastic industry, trading and waste management. The forum will have business-to-business and government-to-government meetings to address areas of concern as well as providing businessmen and women the opportunity to interact, establish business relationships, and conclude business deals.
Chief Executive Officer of the Moroccan Export Promotion Center, Marifi Zara, spoke about plans to strengthen partnership between the two countries.
These partnerships, led by major Moroccan private groups, have benefited vital sectors for the modernization of some African economies, and several models of these economic partnerships are success stories already since a decade.
Deputy Minister of Trade, Carlos Ahinkra, directed the GIPC and the Free Zones Board to consider exchanging trade ideas with Morocco.
Are aimed at making Ghana the most business-friendly economy in Africa. Some of the reforms include the establishment of an electronic register for business regulations, legislations and processes which should lead to providing a complete repository of business laws and transparency for investments.
Other speakers underscored the need to deepen relations between the two countries.
The Ghana Securities Industry Association says all is set to launch the energy sector levy bond, which will be traded on the stock market. President of the association, Reginald Franz, tells TV3 Business the bond, when successfully traded, should see the country's energy debts fully paid.
Ghana has issued an energy sector levy bond prospectus. Roadshows are underway for investors at home and abroad. Reports indicate that the IMF takes a public debt view of the impending fifth extended credit facility program review. President of the Ghana Securities Industry Association, Reginald Franz, responding to concerns, says trading the bond on the stock market should take the burden off the taxpayer.
I think the ESLA bond is a unique bond that the government is issuing. It is actually to pay off the energy sector debts. It has been ring-fenced. The sources are very clear. All of us are going to be paying for it by buying fuel at the pump, and they take a few pennies out. They ring-fence the money to ensure that they can settle these debts with the financial institutions. It helps each of the energy sector institutions clean off their balance sheet.
At the launch of this year's Capital Markets Week, the association says it will, among other issues, discuss the need to make Ghana an investment destination. This year's Capital Markets Week is on the theme, the safety and security of the Ghana financial market.
And the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Reverend Ubami Tete, says the development is expected, and he was speaking in relation to the performance of GCB, which has dropped by some 20% since it took over management of UT and Capital Banks.
Reverend Daniel Ubami Tete was reacting to the drop in performance of GCB Bank on the stock market. He expressed worry lack of adequate information for the investor could be a factor for the underperformance.
GCB Bank took over UT and the Capital Bank. I think there are still questions that investors may have which are yet to be answered. And so investors are rational, and when there's lack of clarity, or when they think they've not got the answers that they are looking for, they tend to vote with their feet, so it's not surprising if we are finding some downward pressure on the stock due to the fact that maybe there's some lack of clarity.
He suggested to managers of GCB Bank to make public their performance reports for the year 2017, as this could help restore investor confidence.
I don't know whether GCB Bank has released their 9-month results yet, but if, for instance, they turn out very decent results, it might begin to sway investors a bit. But basically, is the information or the perception that investors have that influence how they behave. And if they think that they are not sure where things will be going, where the bank is concerned, then they might think that, well, it's about time we take profits or we get out.
And that's all for business. Next, we have sports.
My name is Santi Osei-Ajman, CEO of Slade Industries Limited and board chairman of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. For you, the students in tertiary institutions and young entrepreneurs, join me on October 30th on Time with the Captains as I share my expertise and experience in business, entrepreneurship with you.
Time with the Captains, only on TV3. Don't miss it.
Year after year, we've been rewarding explicit radio and television personalities and content that took over the airwaves. It's the 7th year and it's going to be more rewarding. The 7th Adonko RTP Awards 2017. Who carries the awards slated for the various categories? Let's converge at the International Conference Center on 28th of October 2017, 8 p.m. sharp, and witness the highly anticipated 7th Adonko RTP Awards with massive performances from the evergreen, sexy dancehall queen, Ebony, Kel Songs, and one big surprise artist who is the man of the moment. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. Present at the ceremony will be His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former President of the Republic of Ghana, and Dr. Bwedi Nyamiche, Head Pastor, the Makers House Chapel International. Tickets go for 200 Ghana cedis ground floor and 100 Ghana cedis upper floor. You can buy tickets at Silverbird Cinemas, Kuala, Peace FM, Airport Shell, West Hills Mall, Achimota Mall, and Junction Mall. For TV3 to win more awards, vote for us now. For Jamestown Fisherman to win Television Local Series of the Year award, text RTP Jamestown to 14446. For Ghana's Strongest to win Television Reality Show of the Year award, text RTP Strongest to 1446. For Talented Kids to win the Television Reality Show of the Year award, text RTP Kids to 1446. For New Day to win Television Morning Program of the Year award, text RTP New Day to 1446. The 7th Adonko RTP Awards is brought to you by Adonko Bitters, Jazz Washing Powder, Unibank, Special Drinks, Ines Fly Paint, Stadia Boutique, GH Media School, Sumisura by Abdul, Glory Oil, Holiday Inn Accra Airport, Innovate Advertising, Eden Securities, African Homecoming Project, DSTV Ghana, GoTV Ghana, SICK Microfinance, Royal Dede Hotels, and Vital Fruit Drinks. The 7th Adonko RTP Awards, the night we all dream in gold. This event is powered by Big Events Ghana.
The sports segment is brought to you by
Right, welcome back from that break. This is still Midday Live here on TV3. Let's do some sports now. My name is Yao Ovosulabi. The Ghana Premier League is over, but there were various concerns raised by football administrators, including allegations of bribes to referees, poor officiating and the lack of quality on the playing field. Here at TV3 Sports, we put the Ghana Premier League into perspective. Finally, it is over. After several breaks, thrilling games, persistent confusion over live broadcasts and allegations of fixed games from insiders, the Ghana Premier League came to an end on Sunday in typical style. With 2 relegation spots available for 5 clubs, the stakes were incredibly high and it reflected on the final day. No TV coverage and the drama of Olympics players entering the stadium in Bechim in reverse. That did not stop them from getting relegated. Olympics, Tema Youth and Bolga All-Stars are all back to the Division 1 after a season in the top flight. Adriana Stars won a second title after being run close by Wafa all season, while Accra Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Asante Kotoko endured ordinary seasons again. Felix Romark travelled to every ground and says regardless of the problems, it was a good season.
The Ghana Premier League has always been competitive. Just that we didn't finish the season on a brighter note. Issues of match fixing, officiating, especially in the second round, and then teams trying to prevent television crew from telecasting their games. Issues of betting here and there. For me, those were the things that didn't end the season well. But the games has always been competitive. If you look at a team like Wafa, nobody even expected them to give a D&I a chase. Hassan Kotoko had to fight it off. Kotoko even didn't make the top 4. A team like Ash Gold, who had to fight relegation all season, just finished 2 points below Kotoko. So it tells you that it was a competitive league.
There are those convinced that the past season underlined everything bad with the local league. Poor attendances, regular breaks, and clubs unwilling to live up to the professional standards. The Professional League Board disputes that. Tamimu Issa speaks for them.
In doing a complete review of the season from the board's perspective, we would say that it was a very good season considering the challenges that clubs are facing. When I say the challenges, one of the challenges is obviously the absence of a title sponsor. It makes operations very difficult, and considering the limited resources available to the clubs, one would say that it's been a good season.
Well, on to more news, and Ghana's Black Queens were beaten 8-0 by France in an international friendly played in Rennes on Monday night. Head coach Masoud Didi Dramani's side could not stop the French lethal attack as they conceded.
might lose. Oh, I know. Do nothing. Master, that's what I tell you. I'm going back to correct my mistake.
With your coach?
Yes.
Wadada is ready for you?
Wadada is ready for the rematch. Embassy also accept the rematch.
Yeah.
Master, this is the card they left you, they stop the fight. I don't care. A river cannot flow into the forest without bringing down the trees. A disgrace of okro is a cassava shame. All my fans there for Ghana support me very well to go and fight, retain fight. Every lose if you lose, every draw is draw, every win you win. I want to tell all my fans in the nation that they can pray for me to be a world champion. I'm going to correct my mistake to come and retain fight match.
Well, that's all the sports here on Midday Live. My name is Yao Ofusulabi. There's more sports later when Anako Jafre joins you on News 360. Over to you, Wendy.
Thank you very much indeed, and thanks for the bulletin.
All right, then, you're still watching Midday Live, and we have some news just in. Some old concerned caterers of the school feeding program earlier today embarked on a peaceful march from the Accra Arts Center to the Gender Ministry of Unpaid Areas. My colleague Evelyn Tingma was there. Well, we'll bring you that story shortly, but the news is that some old concerned caterers of the school feeding program earlier today embarked on a peaceful march from the Accra Arts Center to the Gender Ministry over unpaid areas.
Concerned caterers of the school feeding program are here, and they are coming from all the 10 regions of Ghana. And what they are saying basically is that they have worked for 135 days and have been paid only 7 days. What they think is an insult by the Gender Ministry. And so this morning or this afternoon, they are going to the Gender Ministry to present a petition. But unfortunately, the police that promised them that they will escort them to the ministry has not turned up, and so the women are here and kind of confused as to whatever they're going to do. The women are currently at the Gender, Children and Social Protection Ministry, and for over 20 minutes that they have been here, they've still not seen the minister, even though their leaders have gone to her office to verify. For over 20 minutes, they are not back.
So we'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. Now we have international news.
Kenya's Supreme Court will hold a last-minute hearing to decide whether or not the rerun of the country's presidential election can go ahead this week. The court will hear an urgent petition from 3 voters on Wednesday to have the poll postponed the day before the election is due to take place. There is ambiguity between electoral law, the constitution, and how the courts have interpreted it. The main opposition candidate, Raila Odinga, has cited one such ruling as a reason for boycotting what he calls a sham elections. President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is seeking a second term, has said the ballot must go ahead. He has a controversial electoral reform bill sitting on his desk ready to sign into law.
And that's all for the bulletin this afternoon. I am Wendy Lai. Do have a good afternoon and enjoy the rest of our programs.